coming in from New Jersey, going into Frankfurt, and I had a bundle of dirty clothes because I was standing in line to get them washed at the quartermaster. Okay, now if you're not familiar with the Army terms, you won't know what I'm talking about, but nevertheless, it doesn't matter. So this guy's standing in front of me, and he turns around, and he says, he was a lieutenant. He turns around and he said, "You just arrived?" And I said, Yep, just climbed off the plane yesterday. And he said, "Well, when you get settled in a little bit," he said, "Where are you going to stay? What BOQ, Bachelor Officer Quarter?" He said, "What BOQ are you going to be in?" I said, "Don't have a clue yet." And he said, "Well, when you get settled in, come see me in my office." And he was a medical supply officer. And so next day or so, whatever it was, I walked in, and there was Chris sitting there. She was interpreter / whatever for Lieutenant Schwenker. Okay? And that was the beginning. She was engaged to somebody.
You were whatever for him? What was the whatever?
Wait a minute, there's more to this. She was engaged to somebody.
Did you know who?
I knew the guy just in passing. I didn't know anything about him. But she was engaged to him. She was going to go to Ottawa, Illinois.
Which is, by the way, Ottawa, Illinois. This is where my first cousin from Frankfurt lives today.
Yeah, Ottawa,
She
Illinois.
married a guy from Ottawa, Illinois, and of course, because my fiance's father was the doctor in Ottawa, and of course, Dennis, his family knew him because they went to him.
This
He
is
was
how
a
you lose
general
control.
practitioner.
But it wasn't the same guy.
And then I met
So you threw your leftovers.
You,
Is what
you,
you're saying.
you introduce the subject which your wife then picks up on. This is how you lose control.
Okay,
of the
okay,
whole
now
thing.
that's
You go. Okay.
Okay,
Go ahead.
now
That's
then.
what happens after 54
I just love there's a
years.
place called Ottawa, Illinois.
Ottawa, Illinois. Now, I've often said to her, how would you have loved to wind up in Ottawa, Illinois, of all places, when she could have gone to Burgestown, Pennsylvania with me, you know?
Oh, the Mecca!
Right. But in any event, she was engaged and I was semi-engaged as time went along, and
Wait,
then
Semi-engaged? Wait.
Wait, what does that mean exactly?
semi-engaged, I was going to get married.
Did you know
Did
to
she
who?
know that?
Yeah, I knew. I knew.
Did she know?
She knew that
You
too.
were
Yeah.
half married?
But anyhow, she married somebody else, which was a good deal. That was a good thing. I'm glad she did. But in any event, we go to a New Year's party. I always ran across her because, Chris, that is, because she would always turn up where I happened to be.
Or you always turned up where she happened to be.
No, I would be there first and she'd come walking in, you know?
Oh, she's gonna say it's the other
And
way.
I had different...
See, I'm telling you, there we go.
Sometimes
Early
I-
GPS tracking.
I had different girlfriends I'd be with, and she would come in and be the picnic benches, you know, and the old Appleboy places, and they'd be playing the accordion and so forth, everybody having a good time, and she'd come over and she would push me over so she could sit next to me. And the girlfriend of the moment that I would have me with, she'd say, "Who in the hell is that?"
Uh-oh.
And I'd say, "Oh, this is somebody that I know," you know, just. And so on New Year's Eve, 2 years after I met her, I go to a party with Lieutenant Schwenker's place, and he always gave all-night parties, and I'm there, I don't know, what was it, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and guess who are the only two left other than Schwenker?
Oh,
And guess who needs a
two
ride
lovebirds.
home? She needs a ride home. I mean, you know, being the officer and gentleman that I am, you're not going to just let her what? Get a taxi at 3 in the morning or whatever, if she could. And so that was the beginning of the end.
But now, there's something in between. It was
What?
in June,
Oh,
before
yeah.
this New Year's Eve party.
Yeah.
Siggy, who many of you know, she lives in Virginia. She's a
Yeah.
really good friend of ours. Siggy she worked in the dispensary also, and she gave a farewell party at her parents' house, which was outside of Frankfurt. And I was there with my fiance, and Fred was there, and I said to my fiance, let's dance, because there was dancing and all. And
This is the guy from
he said,
Ottawa.
yeah, and he said, no, I don't want to dance. And I said, you don't want to dance? Okay, I'm going to find somebody else. And
Girls gotta dance.
And
And I
I came from outside because mosquitoes were eating me alive. outside. It was an inside-outside party. I come walking in the door, and guess who's waiting to dance? We said.
Oh.
So we danced, and that's when I actually fell in love with Frank.
Oh.
The mosquito bites were so attractive.
I didn't have the mosquito bites.
And the only reason that I happened to be there because the next day I became commanding officer of the communications center in Frankfurt, and we were moving the communications center from one point to the other the next day. And I told Schwenker was always the party guy, and he said, "Hey, I want you to go with me to this party. Siggy's going to give a big party," and I said, "I don't want to go." I said, "Because I got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to start moving this stuff." And he said, "Oh," he said, "I'll have you home plenty of time."
At least by 3:45.
So, you know, when we got back, huh?
3:45.
It was just time for me to put on a uniform and go start with this stuff. But anyhow, that's how that happened.
Yeah.
Wow.
But in any event, I will say this about my 80 years.
Say that.
Nope. It's been fascinating. Well, go ahead. Somebody say something.
No, it's all
I
good.
know you want to say something about the midshipman, right?
No, not really.
That was a very small, useless part of his life.
I have said plenty about the midshipmen for a lot of years now. Good, bad, and otherwise, but most of it's been good. Yeah. Now, the 80 years, what's fascinating to me is all the people that I've had the opportunity to be around. The midshipmen were certainly a high point, and but I look back on where I came from, out of nowhere, out of nothing, coal mines, strip mines, et cetera, where, you know, these are the people who, no, I won't go there.
Yeah, don't go there.
Don't go there. I'm not going to go there.
No.
But in any event, the certain number of us left the areas, went to different parts of the world. I happen to wind up down here. But in any event, it was fascinating, the people that if you were open enough, that you would run across, you would befriend, work with, et cetera, et cetera. And I look back and I am really thankful that the people that I have been around, because
Well, here's the.
they brought me a great deal. And I'm talking about not only the midshipmen, because they were a high point in my life, but all the other people that I have been with and worked with and so forth. And I look back and, you know, even people like Elliot Richardson, who I had the great fascination of having worked with to some extent. Some of you know who he is, some of you do not. Or working with 3 different presidents. I mean, my God, I would never have known that or thought that would happen.
Mhm.
But in any event, it's been a great 80 years, and I thank you.
Hey, we thank you.
Cheers.
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 Now you see, I kept it 20 minutes shorter than my farewell speech when I retired.
Yeah, that was a long one.
She was sitting there rolling her eyes, you know, and all this stuff.
Before I had to sit at the table.
Yeah. But yeah, it's fascinating. We've got people all over the world that we know and love dearly.
And look who all has come to me.
Yes.
Phoenix is here and Isabel from
Yes.
Germany.
Yes.
They came.
Indeed.
Came from Switzerland.
Exactly.
We came from around the corner.
Around the street.
At least 4 blocks.
Yeah, we did drive up the
Exactly.
snowy driveway.
Through the Arctic tundra.
And we
Fred.
hope he's going to be able to get down the driveway. I'm in the back seat, so I'm the mother-in-law. I'll be saying, "Oh my God, what's happening?"
You just
We're
have
just
to
gonna
be quiet.
sled down the
We
driveway.
have to keep her
you know?
quiet.
Down's easy. Up.
You can see
What's
him.
across the driveway exactly?
A mailbox.
Okay.
house.
Something to stop us.
No, they're next door.
Just a
They're
little
next door.
go
They're
back
sitting
later.
inside.